guys, Haz here at Shield K9. I'm with my buddy Wilson, and we're going to be shooting part 2 of our sit, stand, and down series. So if you remember, in part 1, I did a lot of luring with the dog to get him into position. I wasn't using any commands. I wasn't worrying too much about duration. I was just basically teaching the dog to hit the positions. So just a quick recap of that. I'm basically just baiting the dog or luring the dog into positions without giving any command. So this is step 1, just getting your dog to hit these physical positions. Now step 2, I'm going to start to add words. So in the beginning, when I'm adding verbal commands to the behavior that the dog already kind of knows from muscle memory, come here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to give the command, I'm going to wait about a half a second, then I'm going to lure the dog into the behavior that he already learned. So, for instance, if I wanted to do down, I'm going to say down, and then I'm going to lure the dog to the position, mark, reward. Okay. Release the dog. Same thing for sit. Sit. And if the dog gets it incorrect like he is here, no, sit. Good boy. Mark and reward. So again, we'll do down. Here. Down. Good boy. So you notice, give the command, wait a half a second, lure the dog into the position. We'll do a stand now. Stand. Good boy. Sit. Good boy. Just trying to keep him over here so you guys can see. When he's kind of over like this, it's harder to see. Down. Good boy. Okay, so let's progress this a little bit. Let's assume that you did this for a couple of sessions. Now it's time to stop giving the dog as much luring as what he's actually receiving. What it's time to do now is it's time to actually try to push him to figure out what the word means a little more. Because if you always lure the dog, a lot of dogs will just always wait for you to add the lure instead of actually trying to figure it out. So, of course, the dog has to be highly food motivated if you're doing this. So, let's go again. I'm going to start with a down. Down. Good boy. So you can see he took about a second, 2 seconds to think about it. Then he hit the position and he got his reward. Down. Good boy. It's not a rush. It's not a race. Give the dog time. And if he does the wrong thing, I'm also going to tell him if he does the wrong thing. Sit. Nope. Sit. And then I'm bail him out. Good boy. Stay. Good boy. For me, I say stay for the dog to get up into a stand. I don't actually say stand, in case you were wondering what I was just saying there. Down. So you can see the progression. Now, I have done this with him more than just now, so obviously he's a little more progressed than a dog that has never done this before. So I'm giving him verbal commands. I'm giving him time to figure it out. If he doesn't figure it out, then I'm going to bail him out with a little bit of hand luring. But my goal is to not have to lure the dog at all, whether I'm facing him, not facing him. Give him these commands and have him hit those positions. Down. Good boy. Stay. Nope. Stay. Good boy. Now you can see he's hitting the stand, but I have a little bit of a problem developing here. He hits the stand, and for whatever reason, he's decided he's going to take 3-4 steps sideways. So I'm actually going to go back to luring just to kind of fix this. So I'm going to say stay, and then I'm going to lure him. And when I lure him, I actually want him to, for me, when I teach it, I want the dog to kind of kick back into a stand. So I don't mind if he takes a couple steps backwards, but I don't want that sideways sidle that he's doing. But we'll get back to fixing that later. I'm just going to focus on getting him to hit these 3 positions. Down. Chip. Good boy. Now let's get back to sit. Sit he's struggling with. Sit. No. Sit. Chip. Good boy. Good. Sit. Nope. Sit. Chip. Now the big mistake a lot of people make when they do this is they will give the command and lure at exactly the same time. So they'll say, sit, right? So the problem with this is dogs are more nonverbal than they are verbal. That means that they look at you and they observe your body language before they actually hear you. And if you want to make the dog verbal, as in you want to make the dog responsive to verbal stimuli, you have to make sure you separate your verbal stimulus and your nonverbal stimulus. So the nonverbal stimulus for sit is this, right? The verbal stimulus for sit is sit. So let me break the dog. Okay, come on. Good boy. Sit. No. Sit. No. Chip. Good boy. Okay. So because he's failing in every sit, I'm going to go back to command, 1 Mississippi, lure to the position. Whenever you run into a little hiccup like this, where it's like, okay, he's not getting any of it, take a step back and work back up from there. So we'll start him again. Sit. Chip. Good boy. Okay. Good. Down. Chip. Sit. Chip. Okay, now sit. Sit. Good boy. And I'm going to do this with him for a couple of sessions until he really gets the whole concept of sit. Now, with the stand, remember how I kind of talked about, you'll see it here. Stay. Oh, this time he was actually good. He likes to do a little sideways style when I tell him to stand. That's not correct. So again, I'm going to go back to luring to fix that. Come here. I might try physically blocking him when he does that. And I'm not going to reward him for this anymore. This is not correct, Wilson. Stay. Good. And I'm just going to use my foot to start blocking him from doing that. Do it again. Just lure the dog to a down. Stay. Ah, boy. See, that time you saw him actually hit that stand without doing the sideways style. Down. Chip. Good boy. So, as you guys can see, Wilson is far from perfect. But this is the progression. So we go from luring the dog to these positions, right? Using a lot of baiting, a lot of help, to adding verbal commands, giving the dog a half a second, then giving the baiting or the luring to help the dog to the position, and then trying to fade the luring altogether. But this is how you would pretty much progress to step 2. I'll be back with step 3 at a later time, where we're going to actually get into how to teach duration in these positions. So not only having the dog hit the position when they receive the verbal command, but also how to make duration in these positions. Thanks for watching.